All right. And we're live. All right. So, nope, did not expect to do another episode day after. Topics just kind of show up on occasion. So, we'll see how this kind of goes with this one in particular. Now, just to kind of phrase a little bit of what we're doing here. This is a sub-genre kind of thing. I'm kind of doing for now. When the topic comes up and I'm not podcasting and something comes up I feel like needs to be addressed, this is kind of the place I'm going to be doing it. Let you guys say something in the chat for a bit as you guys are rolling in here. So tonight's topic, we're going to be talking about Lawbreakers. This is a game that just came out just a few days ago, and it has some interesting aspects to it we do need to discuss. While the team's kind of rolling in here, I want to give my general impressions about the game. I've played the beta, or at least the open beta game on release. Now, this particular game is another hero shooter. It is set a little. It's still set in the future, and it's an interesting kind of vibe to it. The comparison that it always gets is Overwatch. Yes, it is a hero shooter, but it's not nearly as robust as Overwatch is in terms of its hero selection. Now, it is fun. It is a definite blast. Now, the good aspect of this game, there's two things that people are talking about. One, it's Cliffy B. Cliffy B is pretty much selling this game alone. And the fact that they are engaging in very pro-consumer practices, which I think is to be praised. They're not charging you $60 for a multiplayer-only game. They are not. They had multiple betas. So you had opportunities to play the game before release. It's been very fair. They're not doing any paid DLC in terms of content. I think it's going to be some skin stuff or maybe something like that in the future. But now there's no you have to buy map packs or anything like that or any new characters. So that's a real bonus and a major selling point of this game. I picked up Lawbreakers with the anticipation of I needed a multiplayer-focused game on PlayStation, something that was relatively cheap for other people to play with me whenever I got involved. Now, I don't plan on picking it up on Xbox, not because it's not a good game. I really enjoy it. I have a blast, but namely because I'm trying to have something that's my main draw on PlayStation in terms of multiplayer. Getting into some of the aspects of the game in more detail. Now, there's a couple little things I do want to discuss. First of which, let's talk about the gameplay. This is a first-person shooter. There's a lot of different abilities based on your character. For the most part, though, everybody has a main gun that they can use. They have different abilities. Like for me, I'm using the Harrier a lot lately, which has a continuous laser beam. You can use the Vanguard. The Vanguard has this like a chain gun, like a rotating thing. It looks really cool. You got Titans who have rocket launchers and laser like electricity guns, and it can get really crazy. It's really a blast to play. Cliffy B proves yet again he knows how to make a shooter. Let's talk about some of the classes. I think it's 8 classes now, or 7. I lost track, honestly. And everybody has a few different abilities that makes them interesting. Vanguard can fly really quick around the map and have a heavy gunner aspect to them. Gunslingers can blink across the map a little bit, but they all have different types of guns and they do a little more damage than everybody else. Enforcers are your standard Soldier 76 kind of model. You got a lot of different characters kind of in the same kind of vein. I really enjoy playing the Harrier personally. It's a fun, different medic kind of place. It's more of a pickup booster medic. Imagine for those who are familiar with Overwatch, imagine Zenyatta and Torbjorn armor pickups. It's kind of like that. And I enjoy it. It's a fun little, the gameplay is always enjoyable, and the classes are different enough and interesting for the most part. Game modes, I think the game modes are where this game really shines, personally. They have Blitzball, which is you grab the ball, put it in their goal, and you're on a shot clock. You have to do it or it explodes and kills you. Now, there's other game modes like Battery, where you're running up, picking up a thing and pulling it back to your base where a battery is going to be charging. And you have to hold it until you charge it all the way up. Or there's like uplink, where an uplink, you do the same kind of general maneuver, but the other team can steal it and then keep the same charge on it and still win. It really is quite a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed playing this game. And the game modes are definitely a major factor here. Now, the other aspect that is not getting a lot of attention, that I believe that needs more attention, is these technical issues. Yes, we are the first launch week, and there's going to be bugs, but there's still quite a few, at least recently. There's this whole thing about lag spiking, and it's not based on where you are. Everybody experiences these simultaneous lag spikes where everyone stops moving for a second and then repositions, and then it continues. And it's really annoying, and it's consistent. Every time you spawn in, when you die, you will lag. And you lag for a second, and then you correct. It's every single time. And it's getting, frankly, to be very annoying. Now, there are a couple other bugs, but that was the main one that really pissed me off. It's been consistent. This is not really a judgment on the game per se. Just currently, that is the state of the game as it is on launch week. So, to the main topic, as we got some people in here now. At least for right now, it looks like Lawbreakers isn't doing too hot, especially when it comes to its particular sales. People are looking at Steam and seeing how many people are playing, and I believe, if I remember correctly, the game is actually has a lower player base than Battleborn, which came out last year and was largely forgotten by the mass culture. It is constantly mocked regularly and with extreme vitriol. Now, not to say it's a bad game, but Lawbreakers is not doing the kind of numbers it was expecting, especially day one. And now there are a lot, and I mean a lot, of contributing factors regarding this that need to be discussed. Currently, the general thought process that I've seen is that, and this is absolutely ludicrous, I mean absolutely insane, that the reason Lawbreakers is doing bad is because Cliffy B pissed off the Xbox fanboys, and the Xbox fanboys have demonized the game so much that all the casuals decided not to buy the game. That's just utterly insane. That is asinine to even assume that would be a legitimate reason why people wouldn't buy Lawbreakers. The fact of the matter is there's several different factors that are contributing to this game not doing too hot right now. So let's start with the obvious one. Now, this is one that everybody kind of anticipated. Cliffy B anticipated this when Overwatch got announced. This game is very similar to Overwatch. It's a hero shooter game that's multiplayer only, and it's the same kind of gameplay. The only difference between this one is where Overwatch is you get the impression that Overwatch is a little more team-focused than Lawbreakers, and for the most part, I believe that. That's pretty legit. Now, it's just really frustrating. Now, okay, so Arsenal's in the chat saying on Steam right now, there are 2,018 people playing on Steam. That is not too hot for opening week. Now, let's also keep in mind, Steam's kind of been co-opted by PUBG. PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds has just totally dominated. Oh my gosh. Now, like I said before, Lawbreakers is a good game. This little critique here is not necessarily saying the game is bad. I like the game personally. But there are a couple of issues, namely with marketing and how they decided to go about doing this. So kind of getting back to the discussion here, there's always going to be the Overwatch comparison. It's another hero shooter where you pick a bunch of different characters. And like I was saying before, Overwatch is a little more focused on the team combat, where one person can't really carry an entire team. Lawbreakers, though, one person can totally dominate it. Oh my gosh, we got people in the chat now. Arsenal, Randolph Thor, and Kev. Thanks, guys, for showing up. I do appreciate that. Now, that's the thing. With Overwatch, it's always going to have that comparison. And the issue is that not so much that came out last year. I think Cliffy B anticipated that this game was going to have that comparison was always going to be there. And so the game was coming out a year later. Over a year later, actually. And Overwatch still has legs. What was it? It was like 30, 40 million players. It's ridiculous. And they're trying to launch into this market. And I mean, I don't know what else you would have done with all those years invested in this game. I don't know what you would have done. But he pushed the game back as far as he can. The game's got to come out. And he's doing all the right stuff. Now, but here's the trade-off, though. Overwatch, this is low-key not being said, totally screwed Cliffy B and Lawbreakers. They released their Summer Games event on the same date and time as Lawbreakers. They came out and said, hey, event with some brand new loot, and you can also get you can get the old loot you missed the last year, and you can just pay for it and get it real quick. And then it's so frustrating, honestly, because I like Overwatch, but with Lawbreakers, I also enjoyed Lawbreakers. But I'm not gonna lie though, when Lawbreakers came out, I turned on my Xbox first and tried to get into the servers for Overwatch. I wanted to play Overwatch, and I just want to get to see what a couple of the skins are, you know, just some basic stuff. But still, the fact that I wanted to log into a year-old game over a brand new one I also enjoy is crazy. And like I said, so I mean, this always happens though. Like, you normally put out your competition. Like, you're never just gonna let anything just come out. And I mean, Blizzard, they do not let it be denied that people were taking that away. Now, I looked on PlayStation, and I know this is anecdotal evidence. I know this is not a great measure to go by. But when I was looking through my PlayStation friends list, what I noticed was that more people were playing Overwatch than Lawbreakers. I had 3 people playing Overwatch and only one other person playing Lawbreakers. And that one other person was my brother, who I bought the game for. I bought this game twice. So don't tell me about, oh, you're just an Xbox. You want the game to fail. No, I bought Lawbreakers twice at this point. So I enjoy the game as well. So so Overwatch is always going to be the comparison, and they have that event. Now, here's the other thing. I don't think Cliffy B anticipated this, but it happened. Hellblade. Hellblade came out the same date as Lawbreakers. Also was dirt cheap in comparison. Was also doing this, I think it's $30, maybe $40. I'm pretty sure it's $30 though. They came out for cheaper. And they came out the same date as Lawbreakers. And considering Lawbreakers is only on PC and PS4, now you have people having to choose it on PlayStation 4, another game that also came out the same day. And again, more anecdotal evidence. I looked on my friends list, and I had like 6, 7 different people playing Hellblade, as opposed to Lawbreakers or anything else. It's really... And here's the thing. Hellblade was a perfect storm to take the internet. They were doing these constant developer diaries. They were doing all the stuff on the side, getting people hyped for this game, having good, positive stuff going into release. Now, the other thing about it, though, is that on launch day, they had controversy about the whole permadeath thing, which actually doesn't exist, but they had this whole issue about permadeath that everyone was freaking out about, and that was controversy getting people to talk about the game. And for every person talking about Hellblade, that's one less person talking about Lawbreakers. So they were kind of taking the media away from them. Now, that's the thing. It really sucks for Lawbreakers in this regard, because I don't think that was anticipated. I think Cliffy B said, "Oh, this is gonna be the only thing coming out. It's gonna have some attention to it." But Hellblade just totally took that conversation away. And I think the other thing about it too is it's the same thing that hurt Titanfall 2. Those betas hurt it. Those betas, although they were great, they were pro-consumer moves that need to be applauded. Interested in the game, played the game then, and then decided they were going to buy the game. They decided if they were going to do it then and there. And you let people play enough to make that decision. And the problem is, this is why it sucks, really. They did all these very pro-consumer moves, but the result is by doing pro-consumer move, you're not selling. And it's just, man, it really does suck that it's the people who are doing the right thing are the ones getting punished for doing the right thing. Like, that honestly really does suck for them. What else? And so the other thing too, and I think this is the biggest one, is just the overall mixed reception. Like I've seen you guys a couple in the comment section saying it looks generic, I'm not interested, yada yada yada. And about like 2-3 weeks ago, I asked if people were interested in getting Lawbreakers because I was going to pick it up, and the vast majority of people I talked to were like iffy. Like 2 or 3 said yes, I'm going to pick it up. Out of like maybe 20 people I asked, like only only 3-4 people maybe said yes, I'm going to get it. And most people were mixed, and some people just said no, it's not for me. I mean, that's a pretty even fixture though, and so now there's just not that interest. It's not there anymore. People don't care about the game, and I think that's the thing too that people are coming at it. Now, I want to talk about something like I saw we mentioned at the beginning of the video. There's this sentiment coming up about Xbox fanboys in particular going to town on this. Let me grab a sip real quick. All right. So there's been this sentiment in particular by Xbox fanboys. And this is something that I know Rand in particular and we've talked about this before. And many other people in the Xbox community who are, well, I should say the respectable Xbox community, we have this issue where there's a clear divide between how we like to handle ourselves and how others like to do so. And the Xbox fanboy community, first of all, does not represent us. And I might do a video on that later at a different time, but this now is kind of not the time or place. But the Xbox fanboys in particular have had this issue with Cliffy B. Now, in their defense, I will argue that Cliffy B, nobody gave a shit who Cliffy B was before Gears of War. Yes, he had some sway here and there, but Gears of War is what made his name to the console market. People didn't care about Cliffy B before that point. But Cliffy B was made on the back of Xbox, and it maybe that may not be the right terminology to be using in this case, but that association with Gears of War, Xbox exclusivity, and Cliffy B, gave him the persona and gave him that aspect that he didn't really have before. Now, the issue in particular now is that with the Xbox guys, they feel like he owes them something, which he absolutely does not. But either feels like there's that relationship, and especially after the whole Destiny situation where it was, Microsoft let Bungie slip by with Destiny. They have that kind of that aspect that they want something back, like show you we helped build you up, meaning like the Xbox community over the decade has built you up, and you need to give us something back. And it's kind of I don't really subscribe to that idea that you owe anybody anything, but yeah. Now, so the situation with Cliffy B and announcing that Lawbreaker is going to be exclusive to PlayStation and PC, at least in the meantime, and it's coming to Xbox. Let's be honest, Lawbreakers is coming to Xbox, especially after today. It's something that is a very touchy issue. And the way that Cliffy B handled that situation is very touchy. Namely because, yes, he owes them nothing, but a little nod would be appreciated. Like, hey, yeah, these are my roots. Gears of War made me who I am today. That's sort of. It gave me my notoriety. And it's a wound. For the Xbox guys in particular, because it was like, hey, this is the guy who's going to be here. This is the guy who's going to do multi-plat stuff from now on, and he's making long term that this game's going to come to Xbox. Xbox. They're thinking the immediate here and now, this is how it's going to be from now on, which is not going to happen, but you get the idea. So for them, they feel like they've been betrayed by Cliffy B. Cliffy B sees this and sees all the hate, and so he gets aggressive, and he made that tweet. I think it was like the day actually that the beta was coming out, and he got all that attention all of a sudden, and because he made that tweet about Xbox fanboys, and it's that engagement thing, and that was just kind of a silly thing to do. I'm not blaming Cliffy B for it, but at the same time, it's just better to ignore them. When you engage them, it doesn't help. It really doesn't. Now, moving on from that, I'm seeing the sentiment that Xbox guys in particular are so enamored and so glad that Lawbreakers is bombing. And yes, some people are assholes, and yes, they're enjoying that, rubbing it in their face and that kind of such. But I'm also seeing this other sentiment kind of springing up a little bit. And this is the one that I'm more concerned about. People are actually trying to use the logic that Lawbreakers is bombing because the Xbox fanboys trashed it before the game came out. This makes absolutely no sense. And I'll reiterate this one more time just so you hear how dumb this sounds. That because of the issue between Cliffy B and the Xbox fanboys, that the Xbox fanboys were so crazy and that they were so insane that they were boycotting Lawbreakers and that they were so pissed off with Cliffy B, they completely bodied the game before it came out with all this negative press and all this negative slander or yada, 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 that they did all this stuff and somehow dissuaded casuals en masse, Lawbreakers. What? That sounds so dumb. You mean to tell me that random people on Twitter, maybe 100 people total on Twitter, influenced the mass market of millions not to buy Lawbreakers? That is so dumb. I can't believe that someone would actually believe this. Honestly, this game in particular is a damn fine game. I enjoy it. I like playing the game, and I'll be playing it for actually right after the show. I'll be playing more Lawbreakers. The thing is, though, it didn't do well based on its own merits. Unfortunately, being pro-consumer doesn't always equate to sales. It sucks, but unfortunately, that's just the way things are. Now, the other aspect about that, let's apply this logic to something else. That because Xbox fanboys in particular are responsible for low sales of games. Not on their platform, but on other people's platforms. So let's pick another game that Xbox fanboys trashed for a while. Uncharted 4. How did Uncharted 4 do? Pretty damn well. Uncharted 4, what was it? It was last count, it was like 6 million units or something like that. I honestly don't keep up too much with it, but I noticed a few things, milestone stuff. But Uncharted 4 sold so well. What happened? Xbox fanboys are trashing that game. How did it sell so well? Based on the merits of the game itself. Let's look at Bloodborne. Bloodborne sold really well, if I remember correctly. And what happened to that? Seriously. Like, Xbox fanboys trashed it for being, it's just a copycat Souls game. Look at it. It's lame. It's not that good. And based on the merits of the game itself, it sold well. Now, here's another one, too. No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky was not that good and got trashed by Xbox fanboys, and yet still sold millions of copies. There you go. It has nothing to do with whether or not fanboys are trashing a game or not, if it's going to be good or going to do bad. It just wasn't that impressive. The mass market wasn't interested in Lawbreakers, and it sucks. And I like the game still, and I will reiterate this till the cows come home. The game is good. It deserves a lot of press and attention. It's just not getting it just on the merits of its own situation and the choices that were made in development and the choices that were made in marketing in particular. So I'm not the kind of negative Nancy type that just crashes on something and doesn't try to fix stuff. I like to offer what I think could help them. Now, hindsight is 2020, as everyone likes to mention. I guarantee if Cliffy B could look now and look back then, I think he actually would have made the choice to go with Xbox this time around, at least for the first portion of it, namely because Xbox is dry. There aren't a lot of good games coming out right now. It's been a dry exclusive summer. Now, and also spring. It's been pretty damn dry. And if you were to come out and say, hey, it's exclusive to Xbox for a limited time while we get this over to PlayStation, Xbox guys would pick it up. And it's a shooter. There hasn't been a lot going on in the Xbox lately. Yeah, you still have the situation with Overwatch, but you wouldn't have to be worried about Hellblade. You wouldn't have any competition on that front. You would at least pick up a few more sales. Hey, it would. I think it would work in that case. So, I mean, but again, hindsight is 2020. So what does this mean? What does this mean that's going to happen? Now, I think the way to recap from this is you take a Rainbow Six Siege approach. You have to show constant support and be building this game up. Now, I know Titanfall's kind of combating this lately with going on EA Access. They don't really have that option in this case, but this constant support and helping out. I think having free weekends would be great for the game. Having the ability to, well, putting it on sale on occasion, even though it's that cheap as it is already. There's a lot of different ways to go about this. I think the best possible solution, though, is you start working with Microsoft really damn quick to port this game over to Xbox. Get their team on it. Get them help you out to get this game on there, because the only way this game is going to survive is it's got to have constant presence in people's minds. It's got to have something going on. Now, whether or not you want to accelerate the content push, I wouldn't suggest that, because you want this game to have longevity. Because people will buy Lawbreakers if they see people are continually playing it and that the community is growing. Same thing happened to, what's the game? Rainbow Six Siege is probably the best comeback of a first-person shooter this generation, where it started off, did not sell well, and is now in the top 5 most played games. It's doing pretty damn well. It's definitely something that needs to be kind of emulated in a way, and Lawbreakers just needs to learn that particular rule. Now, another thing that could happen, I don't think will happen, but could be pretty good, is you try to bundle in, work with Microsoft. Now, Microsoft hasn't announced the Xbox One X necessarily, or the holiday bundles, which is an opportunity. And like I said, I don't think this will happen necessarily, but it would be a good counter. What you do is you work with Microsoft to get Lawbreakers bundled in with every Xbox sale. You're immediately going to get at least 1 million people buying that game just because it's in the box. And you're going to get at least a good cut percentage from Microsoft for people who might have not bought the game. But you have a good basis of people who didn't have Xboxes before, who now have Lawbreakers and now have at least 1 game to play, which could be a good way to get that support going forward. And honestly, though, the timing is going to be interesting because you got Call of Duty and other games like that to worry about. And that's the only issue about it, though, that would probably dissuade it from happening. But if you put it in the box, people are going to play it. That's just kind of how things roll. So that's what I would do, at least in the short term, to try to do more of a free-to-play weekend kind of deal on occasion. Maybe do something along those lines. And just constantly show support for this game. And even though you're not making a lot of money for it, a lot of people who believed in you, Cliffy B, if you cancel this game, or not cancel it, if you drop support within a year, people are going to get upset. And they'll be less likely to trust you in the future. But those are just my ideas. What do I know? I don't know jack. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section. This is just another rant about why Lawbreakers is bombing. I'm going to get back on and play some Lawbreakers, so I will be on there later. And I will talk to you guys later. Thank you guys for checking out in the chat. Gaming Addict, Kev the Gamer, Yassins, and a couple other guys who showed up. I appreciate you guys showed up and just let me know what you guys think. Hit me up in the comment section. I'll talk to you guys later.